Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to those here and those connecting online. So let's settle into our evening with our meditation. So having arrived to Thursday evening occurring, enabling the opportunity for meditation. So meditation to bring the mind back to its fundamental nature, some inner stillness, silence, and spaciousness. A retreat from the ways and workings of the world, the happenings of the day, coming back to simply being and knowing, a break from doing and thinking, a retreat, a refresh, enabling some mental relaxation, even a realignment or recalibration back into balance, harmony, wholeness. Experiencing this underlying foundation of well-being, the well-being and even the happiness that comes from a calm, quiet mind. So firstly, settling into our physical posture of sitting as we breathe out any stress, tension, and feeling into the body, the sensations of sitting, feeling the body sitting here, a sense of being grounded, settled, centered. As we shift our brain from left brain thinking into right brain, body, somatic, sensing, awareness, tuning into some of the sensate experience of life in the present moment, pure and simple, without the mental add-ons, beginning with the sense of touch, awareness of the touch of the body, feet connecting with the floor, just noticing, sensing, feeling, contact sensation, feet connecting with the floor. Bringing awareness up to sense and feel the touch of the body against the chair or meditation cushion. Noticing that. Bringing awareness up to our hands and fingers resting in our lap. Getting a sense of what they're touching, maybe one hand touching the other. That particular sensation of hands, fingers, or maybe touching the fabric of our clothes, just mindfully noticing, enabling a neutral knowing, free from judgment, just neutral knowing, receptive knowing. And bringing awareness up to the shoulders, a place where stress tension collects. Relaxing the shoulders without disturbing the uprightness of our back. Then feeling with our awareness down into the chest area, Relaxing that area so we can breathe freely. And relaxing our awareness down into the abdomen belly area. Relaxing the abdomen belly area so the diaphragm can extend fully as the body breathes. And feeling that soothing motion, the gentle rising up with the in-breath, relaxing down with the out-breath. Feeling into that gentle rising, relaxing, rising, relaxing. Extending our awareness to notice our face. The air may be connecting with our face, a few sensations on our face. And then from this sense of touch, moving awareness to the sense of sight and seeing as we perceive some degree of lightness coming in through the closed eyelids. Lightness, brightness, color, patterning, or just a blankness. Experience of seeing, pure and simple, without comment or commentary. And noticing the sense of hearing, auditory experience, audition, hearing, a few sounds from maybe inside the room, some sounds from outside the room. Different tone, pitch, volume, layers, levels of sound. Simply listening to the soundscape of life in this moment. All sounds occurring on the background of silence. The last two physical senses, the sense of smell and taste, olfactory, gustatory, maybe the smell or fragrance of the incense, any residue taste in the mouth, simply noticing. Maybe also noticing the mental sense of thoughts. In Buddhist psychology, the sixth sense, mental sense of thoughts. Any thought that occurs as a mental image that we see, mental sight or a mental sound, voice that we hear. Noticing those without the need to add in or add on to those thoughts. Enabling this calm, conscious, knowing awareness. Awareness of the flow of experience, the fundamental fabric of experience, pure and simple, in the present. enabling a calm, objective, receptive, attentive knowing without personalizing, identifying with or as, without the mind clinging or condemning, reacting or resisting, denying or distracting, but simply noticing and knowing. And particularly noticing and knowing each breath, inflow, outflow sensation of the breath, breath by breath, moment by moment. Allowing the mind to find its natural inner ease and stillness, particularly noticing and feeling each breath. Please help yourself to tea, biscuits. Our last two sessions of group meditation, last Thursday night and then the Sunday just past, we were fortunate to have Ajahn Bhuripanyo with us. So he gave the Thursday night reflections and then a Sunday meditation day, both well attended. And as usual, when we do have a Sunday retreat day, the following Thursday, we have the chance to maybe debrief that a bit, share any reflections or questions or comments, particularly so that those that weren't able to attend can get a sense of what it was like, debrief and so forth. This evening we've got a small group, but still we can check in on both how the Thursday night was for you with a Buddhist monk here, and also the Sunday session. And I think there was a lot in what Ajahn Bhuripanyo presented. Just as a bit of a reminder, the Thursday evening, so last Thursday, he particularly spoke about pain, even during the meditation, that experience of discomfort, unpleasant sensation, what we otherwise call pain, that can occur in the meditation. He said to me later that he hadn't planned to talk about that, but he was finding that he was having some discomfort, unpleasant sensations in the meditation. So I thought to guide us through that. And his practice or strategy for that was rather than trying to pull the attention away from the pain, which is where the mind naturally goes. Pain is often like a messenger from the body saying, there's uncomfort, there's something not right, do something about that. And so that if it's discomfort simply from sitting, then okay, we change our posture, which may be a bit inconvenient if we're sitting meditation, particularly in a group, and particularly if you're sitting here. It's like, oh, I can't get up and stand and shake my leg just now. It's just not even grin and bear it, don't even show any expression. Just keep breathing. But he said that he'd been offered a helpful technique, which was to bring awareness to the discomfort, noticing it, and even choosing how much awareness to put onto the discomfort. I'm going to be aware of this 50%, then I'm going to go back to the breath. So it's not sort of taking one's whole attention, capturing one's attention, but okay, back to the breath, notice that a bit. Okay, then back to the sensation, noticing that, which means that one still has some degree of choice and I guess power in the meditation rather than being consumed by the pain. Certainly to add on to that, I would say that if there is pain that is all-consuming, apart from changing one's posture or doing something else, if one's still sitting with in the context of the meditation, then rather than trying to get away from it, if the pain is all-consuming, then okay, we just become aware of that sensation as a sensation in the body and meditating on that in the same way that we would be meditating on the breath. But I thought that his strategy of okay, just choosing if you want to notice that 80% breath, 20% or different was quite insightful and helpful. He also spoke about his wandering, what's called tudong experience, wandering and camping through the Sunshine Coast up in Queensland, he was finding that an interesting experience, and also having spent some time camping. Even Brendan, you did a sort of a mini retreat, an Everglades retreat with Ajahn Bhuripanyo, which you spoke about a few weeks ago as well. And so being out in nature, using nature as a foundation for one's practice and meditation as well. And certainly for Ajahn Bhuripanyo, his wanderings and journey has continued. I dropped him off in Murwillumbah on Monday, and so he's been camping various places and doing his arms round and standing outside of the Murwillumbah. I was in the bakery in the main street through Murwillumbah, and people offering him some food. And he even texted me this morning saying that he was in Mullumbimby and that one person, a German chap, came up and gave him so much food. It was like pretty much the whole meal from that particular person that was expressed generosity. So proving that it's possible to be out there, and probably good to be wearing a robe rather than just a lay person on the street with a bowl. But if you've got a robe and looks like you're doing something significant, something special, and providing a opportunity for people to express generosity and offer support. And that's a 2,500-year-old tradition in Buddhism, where monks, nuns make themselves available to receive some food that becomes their one meal for the day. That certainly continued for Ajahn Bhuripanyo. On the Sunday session, he spoke about, his topic was in the flyer, what does mindfulness really mean, and making metta better, which included also reflections on meditation tips and tricks. And he spoke about three things in that: how to expand mindfulness; number two, how to sustain metta, loving kindness, friendliness; and three, how to approach asubha, which the flyer says, which many of you may not have tried. And asubha meaning, subha is the Buddhist word for beautiful, attractiveness, and then asubha meaning not beautiful, not attractive, which in itself is an important meditation reflection, particularly for monastics living a celibate life, a chaste life. So to be able to be aware of, particularly of the unattractive nature of the body. So one's not sort of getting caught up in viewing the body in its attractiveness, and therefore becoming distracted by that, which can then cause the arousing of desire and lust and so forth, which makes it difficult if you're a celibate monastic. But with those three topics, expanding mindfulness, and particularly because Ajahn Bhuripanyo has been doing some vipassana practice, and so vipassana practice, moving beyond just the focus of the mind on the breath, anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, so more of an expanded mindfulness. And on that Sunday, he also mentioned about the mindfulness not being such a great translation of the Buddhist word sati. So sati meaning to be aware, to remind, remember, reflect, recollect. Even the word recollection has more of a better understanding of the translation of sati, to recollect, to bring back to a wholeness, as opposed to being distracted, distorted in one's awareness. But generally, the word mindfulness has become the most popular term that's used for the word sati. But expanding mindfulness beyond just a focus or a concentration, or an inclusive, receptive awareness. Also, in the context of the second point, how to sustain metta. And with that, for those of you that were here, he spoke about rather than inner meditation, generating this quality of kindness and care and friendliness, often translated as loving kindness. Loving kindness or friendliness is an important feeling to generate towards self, even pain in the body, and others, as a way of sort of interfacing, relating, connecting with others. That sort of both intrapersonal towards oneself, then interpersonal with others. Very, very important quality to have, the foundation of any healthy relationship. But appreciating that we can generate this as like a mind body, a psychophysical, spiritual practice through meditation, exercising and strengthening the parts of the brain that are able to then elicit and feel this quality of connection and friendliness towards others. But Ajahn Bhuripanyo mentioned that he'd often tried this and found it difficult, especially when thinking, may you be well, may you be happy, which is part of the practice, bringing up some thoughts to help generate the feeling. But often the mind just gets stuck in the thoughts and doesn't go to the actual feeling place, which is in the body. So he mentioned that, yes, the importance of getting the feeling and bringing awareness to the heart area, sort of the place in the center of one's chest where one feels those positive feelings and emotions, and then bringing to mind or placing in that sort of domain the images or the ideas of people that you want to connect with, so that you're connecting with them from that heart center, as an important approach. And obviously that requires mindfulness, a sense of recollection as well. And then his third point about the asubha, which I think some people probably a bit sort of not so much shocked, but not being aware of this as a practice. It's generally not spoken about too much with lay people that are not sort of not monastics to as a practice. But at the same time, it can be something to be aware of as a practice, to be aware of the unpleasant and unattractive, the non-beautiful aspects of having these bodies, especially if one's focusing on spiritual practice, and as a way of not just getting caught up in the the appearance of things, the superficiality of things with regards to the body, but to see, well, actually, these bodies, they do have that unattractive element to them. Even our own bodies don't have a wash for a few weeks. It's like, oh, apart from maybe not looking so great, it's not smelling so great either. um, or even just if one's sick, if one's got the flu or a cold, and it's like the red face and the nose dribbling and all of that, and red eyes and coughing and spluttering. And so they do have that fundamental element to them, the unattractive nature of the body. Obviously, we need to look after them so they are healthy and clean and smell okay. But as a meditation, it becomes such that particularly monastics make it a meditation practice to practice this, so that they don't get drawn and attracted to the beautiful parts of people's body. When I was a Buddhist monk, it was challenging, because you go on alms round, and even on alms round in the monastery, you don't really see too many people, apart from other monks. But on alms round, you go out and you're walking through the village, and you see people of various ages. Mostly they're women that offer food, and you're not looking at the woman, but you're looking down on the ground, and then you sort of start to, the mind naturally goes, okay, well, oh, they're a nice pair of feet. And women, they take their shoes off, and when they're sort of offering some food, and oh, they're attractive feet, and oh, I like those toenails. So the mind will play these tricks, and you think, I'm looking forward to seeing those feet again tomorrow. And arms around. um, so, and particularly for Buddhist monastics, again, both men and women, that living a celibate life where there are these rules and um, um, guidelines and precepts, and you want to be able to maintain them. And so this meditation, the Asubha meditation, is really, really helpful. And I think that if other religious traditions also had these meditations as well, there'd be a lot less issues that occur for monastics and priests. Um, so that one good thing about the Buddhist monastics practicing this, and Ajahn Bhuripanyo mentioned about the meditation on the skeleton, that within these bodies there is this skeleton, this fundamental framework that we don't usually think about or see. Would go to a Buddhist monastery, and often in the meditation hall there's a glass cabinet with a skeleton hanging up, so that you go inside and that's what you see. You go, oh, I've got one of those. And everyone that you see has got one of those. But that becomes part of the meditation practice, to be more aware of the fundamental reality of and the human condition, that this is how it is. So helping to reduce unease and distress when things don't go particularly well with the body, whether it's just the process of aging or illness, or the end of life with death, which happens and could happen at any time. So I think that Ajahn Bhuripanyo, he sort of gave a lot of good pointers and strategies. He did say something that has come up as a question. Susanna is not able to be here this evening. She asked a question. She says, I have a request, please. My question on Sunday was, I feel I would get distracted from my meditation when starting to A, analyze the subject of distraction, B, evaluate intensity, and then C, measure time of disruption. So 3 things. And once, she says, once you mentioned or recommended separating active mental reflection from meditation. Could you elaborate on this, please? Thank you so much. Kind regards, Susanna. So if this is Susanna, if she's watching this evening online, yes, it can be good to determine before or at the beginning of the meditation, if one is going to use any discursive thought or thinking in the meditation, any sort of analysis. And so that if we are simply doing a mindfulness of breath meditation, focusing on the breath, then we don't get caught up in analyzing distraction and going through what distracted and to what degree, and time involved in that as well. But if one wants to use that as a technique, then one decides, yes, I'm going to use that technique with distractions. So I can then notice what has distracted me. Oh, it was a sound or a sensation or a thought or something else, and then also noticing the degree of the mind being distracted, and also the time that maybe has gone into that, few seconds or a few minutes or so forth, and then bringing back to the meditation object, or as a suggestion, reflecting after the meditation. So, okay, in the meditation which I just had, what was the quality of attention in the present moment to the breath, let's say, and to go, okay, well, and what was this? Any significant distractions? Oh, yes, I was getting caught up in thoughts. Even maybe one of the 5 hindrances, the thoughts of sense desire, or thoughts of aversion, or mental dullness, or just agitation, restlessness, or thoughts of skeptical doubt coming up. So noticing what the distraction was, and how intense was that? How much did that consume the mind in the meditation? So that one can be aware of that for next time as well. And particularly if the distraction keeps on coming up, a particular thought about a particular topic that's a concern, which might be then, okay, I need to maybe have some time to what I call CCT, conscious consideration, time to think things through, think about things that I need to think about outside of meditation. And therefore, meditation's TFA, thought-free awareness, without the need to think about those things, because one has time elsewhere to do that. So it does depend. I think it can be helpful to make that choice before the meditation happens. For sure, there are meditations where there is more mental analysis going on. That becomes a bit more of an insight type of meditation. Scott?
Can I share my experience?
Yeah, very much so.
In a way that might help to. I found when I tried them, the questions in my experience almost felt like, trying to put it into words, that it's like realizing I had been leaving breadcrumbs back to the here and now. Like, it's kind of the questions I found re-diverted awareness back here.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And it was like, or it's like, rather than having a answer coming from thoughts and thinking, it's like a somatic knowing or something like that, like a direct kind of like, and it can be quite like just a quick, not an answer with words, but just a knowing that comes from those.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't know. That is.
And I think that's probably a really an important key, so that one's not getting caught up in thinking, analyzing, but just more of that even silent knowing, and then coming back to where you were putting your mind, not being caught up in the distraction. And that can happen sort of as an automatic type of knowing, so that one's not having to think it through. Oh, A, do this; B, do this; C, do this. So any other thoughts or questions or comments from the Thursday night session or the Sunday session? Brendan?
Yeah, John, I reflected on Ajahn discussion about metta, and really the feeling aspect of it, rather than the thinking and wishing of wellness, but the feeling of it. And it took me back to the first retreat that I went on with Ajahn Bhuripanyo, and I think he does it on every retreat. The last group meditation is a meditation that he leads. And the way he started that meditation was it made clear that he's very sorry, put the computer turned off. He loves cats, and so he started that meditation, visualizing, a lost kitten that, maybe been abused, not fed, had no place to call home, no safe place to be, and finding that kitten and then, offering it, some milk and warmth, comfort, and building up that feeling of care and compassion, for this one creature that was desperately in need of care. Yeah, and starting there, and then building on that feeling and extending it, out to people that you care about, and then further and further, all the way out to all beings eventually. It was incredibly powerful. I think magnified by the fact that it was at the end of the retreat, and so you've had 9 days of meditating and being calm and peaceful, meditating as a group. So there's a lot of kind of, I think, positive energy already to build on with that. But that was by far one of the most powerful meditation experiences I've ever had, and to the point where at the end I had tears kind of running down my cheeks from the feeling of that. Just incredibly strong sharing of metta. So I guess I just wanted to kind of emphasize that from that experience I had around how powerful that metta feeling can be, and it was an incredible peace and joy that came along with that as well.
And certainly that skill of starting where there is very much likely to have that feeling of kindness and care and friendliness and support and connection with something that is fragile and delicate, like a kitten or some other creature, or even someone that a baby or a child.
I'm not really a cat person, but anybody can imagine a poor little kitten that's being mistreated or something, and feel compassion for that, and you can translate that to any living creature.
So it tugs those heartstrings.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a great place to start for that.
Because the traditional meditation begins with oneself, and I found when I was teaching that to people, it's like they'd say, well, I don't like myself, so I can't sort of start. It doesn't work. There's too many issues about myself. And so starting with someone that you really love and care about, a partner, a friend, a child, and get the feeling going, and then end up the last person you're connecting with is yourself. So that can be helpful as well. But it's more about the feeling than the words that one uses. The feeling, and for some people, they find it difficult to visualize. So yes, maybe words. Sometimes people say, well, I'm more sort of visual. I'm not auditory, so the words don't work. So it depends upon if there's a particular sense that one connects with, but particularly the feeling is the main thing to be generating, even if there's no images and no sort of words. Any other thoughts or comments about those two sessions, having Ajahn Bhuripanyo here, Buddhist monk? Anyone, was it the first time having seen a Buddhist monk? Anyone not seen a Buddhist monk before? In person? That's good.
I have a funny story about my son seeing a monk for the first time, and he said to me, he was only 3 or 4 at the time, and said, "Mummy, what type of animal is he?"
So what did you say?
He explained. Just the thought process process and trying to work it out. And yeah,
What sort of creature?
seems
Because
good.
especially if they don't have hair and they're wearing maybe all brown, or, so different, yeah. Scott, you were going to say something?
Yeah, thanks. I was just, I think, I've finished, I left the meditation just feeling enthusiastic and inspired for meditation again, and or not again, but renewed.
Yeah, good.
And that was the best.
Very good. Yeah, well, certainly Buddhist monastics, they ideally they embody and represent a meditation practitioner. Certainly that, sure, there's various types of Buddhist monastics, even the different schools, Theravada, Mahayana, Zen, Vajrayana, and also within those schools of Buddhism, there's different degrees of practice, but certainly in Theravada tradition, which is the older, more traditional school of Buddhism, and particularly the Theravada forest monks, where meditation is really what it's about. It's so these practitioners are emphasizing, exercising, engaging, and devoting their life to developing meditation quality and clarity of mind, because enlightenment, it's not about enlightenment of the body, it's about liberation of the mind from being caught up in the ills of greed and anger and delusion. So it's an inside mind task, and meditation is that avenue for enabling that. And it's great to have people out there, monastics that are able to share their experiences and spend time with us. So we're fortunate. Ajahn Bhuripanyo is already sort of arranging times with me for coming back for next year. It's pretty busy for the rest of the year because they have the Vasa 3-month monastic retreat from July through until October, and then often it's a busy period after that. Monasteries have their various celebrations, and then the year's over, so cycle of the year continues.
It's been a little bit tough for him.
Yes. I was thinking, I can contact him. He's got a phone. I could go and pick him up and bring him back here, and but I thought, well, that disturbs the whole purpose of the task, to be out there in nature and doing it tough. But I think he had some camping gear, and it worked out okay. He walked along the rail trail, which made it helpful. Because I thought walking on the roads, parts of those roads out towards Yukai, there's no footpath. So he made use of the rail trail, which he said was really good. Good. We'll finish up for this evening. Thanks for coming out tonight. It's good that it's not raining tonight.
Yeah.
So have a good evening and a good week. Thank you.
Thank you, John.